All right, here's what's up next for computer science. This is game lab number 21, and this is a deal where you take what you know and you use what you know and you make something that meets certain requirements. We're going to make an interactive greeting card is what we're going to do. And there are certain things it has to do, but exactly the way you put this together, going to be up to you. So you're, I have this on the handout in case anybody looks at the handout first, but you're watching the movie right now if you're hearing my voice. So my movie, I'm about to show you my example. So this will make more sense here in a minute if it doesn't right now. This is a start from scratch thing. You just get to the game lab and you're just going to make it. You're going to build it yourself. I didn't provide anything and there's no starter code to get you going. You're going to make, it would be an interactive card for an occasion. All right, so here are the things that become like this is where points come from. The reason or the occasion for the card needs to be understandable, clear. Is it a birthday card? Is it a congratulations card? Is it a I miss you? Is it a sympathy card? It's got to be understandable. Why does this card even exist? And that's worth 10 points. You have to include some text, and I don't think you're going to get your point across for the card if you don't include text. So getting some text in there is 10 points. You'll have to use at least one sprite. You're going to have an object that does something, and there's a million ways you could go. So I can't tell you exactly what that's going to look like, but you're going to have to use at least one sprite. There's got to be some kind of movement, motion, animation. Man, that's what we've been learning the whole time. We've done 20 lessons that have worked their way up into learning how to move things around a little bit. So that's going to have to happen, and that's going to be worth 10 points. And then lately we've been talking about this, and this is another required part. There must be some form of interaction by the user on your interactive card. And that means and I'm right now consider me to be the user. I'm going to look at your card and so I have to interact with it. You got to set it up so I have to move the mouse to get something done, or I got to click the mouse, or maybe I got to use keys on the keyboard to make something happen. That part of it's going to be worth 10 points as well. Okay, you can use anything that we have covered in our lessons. You can use things that you know that we have not covered. Some of you know more than what we've even talked about, and so if I don't want to hold you back, if you know how to do things that we haven't talked about, then go ahead and do it. You don't have to get yourself all confused, but you can, if you know how to do things that we haven't really talked about, then do it. Remember to meet the requirements. Remember to hit the requirements up here. They're all listed for you on this handout. And this will be at least a 2-day assignment. After 2 days, you'll work on it, today and tomorrow. And after you work on it those 2 days, or if you get it done today, that's okay too. But it's at least a 2-day thing. After 2 days, I'll kind of make an assessment. I'll see how we're doing. I've had some classes where sorry, too many things in my brain here. I've had some classes where there were just people working, they needed another day. So it could expand to 3, but right now I'm planning on 2 days. When you get this all done, you'll just share it with me the same way you always do. You'll hit the share button, copy that link, go to Google Classroom, turn it in, and that's how I'll be able to view your interactive card. And I can also look at your code if I need to see how it works. All right, so there's that. Now let's hop over here to get to my example. All right, so mine is called Rocket Card, and I'm just going to go straight to where the code is, and I'm even going to kind of talk you through the code a little bit, but let me expand this out and let's look at how it works. When I hit run on mine, this is what you see first. Okay, now most of this, let's take an assessment of what's here. I see a blue circle back there. That's just an ellipse command that is in the draw loop. That's supposed to be the Earth, that blue circle. The little white circle over here is supposed to be like the moon, or a planet or something off in the distance. Up here on the top right, there's a small red circle. That is Mars. That's obviously Mars. And that's just done with an ellipse. And then I also have a sprite in here that's just wiggling. It's little alien that's just like wiggling. He's just hanging out there by Mars and just doing a random, it's doing a random rotation is what he's doing. And you'll see the code here in a minute. I'll kind of go through the code. Up in the top left, I have some text up here. My card is to wish somebody a safe journey to Mars. So that's the purpose of my card right there. Have a safe trip to Mars. The rocket is ready to take off. Down the bottom right, I've got some instructions down here. It says click and keep clicking to go. So I've set mine up to read mouse clicks. We've done a program like that before, and that would be an option for you. All right, so here we go. I'm going to start clicking the mouse, clicking the mouse, clicking the mouse, and it says keep clicking, so I'll keep clicking. And sooner or later, oh, there we go. So the rocket is lifted off, and I'm going to keep clicking, and then, oh, there we go. Don't forget to write. All right, so I'm going to reset and just run this one more time. Watch me run it again. I'm clicking, clicking, clicking. So some things are happening here. When I reach a certain level of clicks, the rocket takes off kind of slowly. And then when I get to another level of clicks, it takes off for Mars and then eventually disappears in the distance. And another little text message pops up. And then that's the end of the card right there. That's its whole purpose. Don't forget to write. You have a safe trip to Mars. Click and keep clicking to go. Don't forget to write. All right, so now what we're going to do is take just a browse through my code a little bit. Up here at the top, I've got all of I set up my rocket animate, my sprite. I made that over here on the animation. There's the alien, and I just drew it. It's not great, but I just drew it. All right, and then I've got I set that up here, my sprite for my rocket. I set up my sprite for my alien. I had to scale my rocket a little bit because it was a little bit big. And if you look if I'll just run this, if you look on the top right where the alien's pretty small because he's way out there at Mars, so he had to be scaled down as well. And I set up a variable for clicks because on mine what I was doing is I knew I was going to keep track of mouse clicks. This is all driven by the number of mouse clicks that happen. All right, so let's roll this on down and look at other things. Now, inside the draw loop here, I've just got the first thing, and I put a comment in here. The first thing is this is all just background stuff, right? The background is filled with black. I set a fill color for blue. This draws the Earth. This ellipse draws the Earth. If you go way back we've done ellipses and rectangles, go way back, right? We've done that. So that draws the Earth. I switch my fill color to red, and this ellipse command right here draws Mars with its X and Y and its width and height. And then I changed my fill color to white, and I drew the moon, right? It's that little white dot that's off on the right, and that's the moon. I set a text font, a text size, a color, and I put all my text at different locations, right? Have a safe trip to Mars, and those are just X and Y locations for that text. And then this is for the instructions that are kind of down at the bottom right hand side. Click and keep clicking to go. Two different text commands that are there, and this is just the X and Y for those text commands. All right, to make my little alien wiggle, he's just up there wiggling up at the top right. So to make my little alien wiggle, here it is. It's just alien.rotation equals a random number between -5 and 5, and that's just making him jittery. It's like he's had too much coffee. All right, now we get into the conditional part of it. This is where the user has to interact. If the mouse went down, all right, we did a program like this, if you remember back a couple of lessons ago. If the mouse went down, clicks equal clicks plus 1, and all that's doing is just counting up the clicks. If it gets clicked, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Okay. Then here's a check. If the clicks are greater than 25, this is counting the clicks. If the clicks get to be greater than 25, then we start the rocket moving. All right, the rocket lifts off. And you might have noticed when I ran the program that the first thing the rocket did was just move straight up, not very quickly. So that's rocket.y equals rocket.y minus 1. I could have done a plus -1, but on this example I just did a -1. So the rocket begins just to lift off kind of slowly. All right, so that's one check if clicks is greater than 25. But now for later on, if clicks gets to be greater than 45, that's a different condition, right? Because the clicks can be greater than 25 and not be greater than 45. So I put another condition in here that says if clicks are greater than 45, then we want to make some other stuff happen. I changed the rotation of the rocket. I wanted it to point off toward Mars, so I tilted it over a little bit by 60 degrees. I began to change the X value of the rocket by 5 pixels each time, and I also changed the Y rocket by 0.5 pixels each time. And I had to play with those numbers to get them to do the kind of motion that I wanted. Probably could have set a velocity there. I just chose not to. Remember, when you're writing your own programs, you do it the way that it makes sense to you and the way that you can make it work. I probably could have used a velocity.x and a velocity.y to accomplish this. It just turns out in this case I didn't. Now here's a little thing where so how did I make the rocket get smaller as it moved, toward Mars? Well, I did this. I did rocket.scale equals, we've done this before, this is a counter pattern. Rocket.scale equals rocket.scale minus, and I just took away 1/100th, in the scale factor as it moved through the loop there. So every time that mouse got clicked, the rocket, as it moves, it gets a little bit smaller, a little bit smaller, a little bit smaller. Now, as that continues to move off to the right toward Mars, it's moving toward Mars. Here's my last check here. Yeah, I said if rocket.x ever gets greater than 350. Okay, well, that's close to where Mars is. All right, the Mars is over about 350 pixels. So as the rocket got close to Mars, here are the things I wanted to have happen. I wanted the rocket to disappear. So I set rocket.visible to false, made it go away. And I just set a fill color of red, a text size of 24, and I put in that little message that says, don't forget to write. And then, of course, I have my draw sprites at the very last in the draw loop here. So let's just look at it again. Click, 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 click. When it gets bigger than 25, the rocket begins to lift off. When it gets bigger than 45, all those things happen. You get the rotation of 60 degrees, and you get the X movement and the Y movement. And also the rocket is shrinking because of this rocket.scale equals rocket.scale minus 0.01. Now, don't try to copy what I did. You don't have to copy what I did. You can make a program where it says happy birthday, move the mouse over your present, right? And it has a picture of a present here on the screen. And if I move the mouse, if mouse is over, right? If I move the mouse over the top of the present, then the present disappears and it shows me what's inside the box, right? There's over in the animation libraries, there's a present, there's a gift box, right? It could be sitting there right in the middle. And you can use this idea if you want to. Happy birthday, move the mouse over your present to see what you got. And I move the mouse over top of the present, and the present disappears, but it shows me what I got. What did I get for my birthday? Right? So the present disappears, but something else pops up, and I get to see what you got me for my birthday, right? So that's an idea. You could do that. But use your imagination. That's part of what we do, right? You have to come up with an idea, and then you got to make your idea happen. And in this case, you're making your idea happen with code. That's what I did. Have a safe trip to Mars. All right. So, like I said, this is a 2-day deal, and you can email and you can ask questions, and I'll try to provide as much support as I can. A lot of this is just about solving the problems. You're going to try to do something, and you got to figure out how to get it done, right? I'll try to help you as much as I can. All right. I think we're good. Off you go.